Hey, what's good, everybody? So here I am back in the mushroom lab recording another video. Last time I came and talked to y'all, I explained to y'all where I've been. I showed y'all the mushroom lab, my agar dishes, my jars, all kinds of stuff, and I kind of filled you in on my new hobby. And it was actually really exciting and kind of cool to finally have enough stuff to break out and just show everybody. So, I decided to come back and kind of give y'all a good little rundown of some stuff, like, just a little where it started, how's it going, stuff like that. So it's been it's probably going on close to a month since I really started, and it was like a month before that I was getting supplies. But once you start going, it goes really fast. So I definitely, first of all, if any of you are thinking about getting into mycology and mushroom farming as a hobby, be prepared to be very busy. Today alone, me and my partner, Panda, you guys will see him in some videos going forward, but just today alone, we sterilized some jars, sterilized some substrate, inoculated some new agar plates, all kinds of stuff. I'll share all that with you throughout the video, but yeah, I wanted to just kind of give you guys a good little rundown of kind of where things started and where things are right now. So, it's a really interesting process, actually, when you get it started. It's not like growing a plant with its little seed, and that seed is essentially a plant, and it grows into the plant, and you have a specific yield from that, and that is the body, that's the life. And that's not really how this works. There's a little bit more of a science lab aspect to this, and it's really interesting. You almost are cloning life endlessly and endlessly to create more of it, and it's very, very fascinating. So it pretty much started, I started out with I ordered some syringes from somebody locally, and I will put a picture of that right here to show y'all what that looks like. I had 3 of them, lion's mane, pink oyster, and blue oyster. And I started out, and when I started out, I just made some little petri dishes. They look kind of like this, and I inoculated them with one of those syringes, and about a week later, next thing you know, that same petri dish that looked like this, it started looking like this. And I had a bug before you know it. Like, that quick, I had the bug. Like, it took me, I was infected by fungus, and that sounds really gross, but that's really what happened really fast. So, yeah, within a week, we took those, but within a week, those petri dishes they went from looking like that tiny little bit of fuzz that you see right there to being just overgrown like this. So, so once we had the really, really fuzzy petri dishes, we started preparing what's called grain spawn, and that's what you saw in those jars in the previous video. Actually, here we go. This is what they're looking like now. I'm sorry if that light got really blinding as I got up. And that's pretty crazy, because I'll throw up here as well a couple of progress pictures along the way that y'all can see exactly where that started and how that kind of went along as well. So those are right there for you, and you can see where we've gotten now. So that's it. It's a fascinating process. It's just amazing. So I'll be right back. That's the first round. And these jars, actually, I won't be right back yet. Hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. So the substrate I was telling you we sterilized today. Tomorrow, we're going to take these jars. I know you still see some of this grain here, but these are grown enough. These are like 90+% colonized at this point. So like they're grown enough that we're gonna take each one and we're gonna split each one into 2 bags of substrate. Our substrate is what's called master's mix, and it's a 50-50 blend of soy hull and oak hardwood sawdust, and you supplement it and it makes it very nutritious, and wood-loving mushrooms love to eat it. So we're gonna take our blue oysters and we're gonna put them in that and mix that up and give it about a week or two, and it'll fully colonize that, and then we'll just cut some slits in the bags and they'll start to grow the mushrooms out. And then before you know it, we'll have blue oysters that we can cook, sell, dehydrate, to do whatever we want with. It's gonna be really, I'm excited, and you guys will see the whole process along the way. But yeah, so now that I said that, I'll be right back. I'm actually gonna take you guys to my kitchen. A little self-conscious about that because I feel like I'm a messy human being, but I'm gonna take you guys in my kitchen real quick. I'm gonna show you what me and Panda were doing today. So I'll be right back. All right, so here we are. Actually, you can see my pressure cooker here is still going. This is my 16-quart pressure canner, and what I use this for is sterilizing my substrate and my jars and my agar. Basically, right now I have 2 5-pound bags of that master's mix I was telling you about in here, and it'll sit in there for 2.5 hours, and that'll kill every bit of fungus, bacteria, anything that's in it. So then I can inoculate it with my jars I showed you, and it'll just jars like this right here. I can inoculate it with my jars that I showed you, and then they'll grow through the substrate, and they'll be the only thing alive that's growing in that substrate. That's the funny part about mushrooms, is you have to make sure that you're only growing the mushroom and the fungus you intend to grow. So then if we come over here, I have a bunch of spare mason jars back here that I use for various purposes. These are grain that I made up today. This is rye grain, which is the same thing that's in the other jars. The only difference is these are pint jars. The only reason I switched to the pint jars is so I can do 1 jar straight per bag of substrate, where the other ones I'm splitting up. It's just making it easier. It'll take close to the same amount of time to colonize. It won't be that much quicker, but it'll just be way easier for me when I go to actually inoculate the substrate. This is random cooking stuff. This is actually nutritional yeast. I do use this for agar, and I use this honey right here for my liquid culture. This right here is gypsum. I add a little bit of this to my grain and to my substrate. It kind of loosens it up and helps the mycelium grow through the substrate and the grain easier. You see how these are very loose? They're wet, but they still move like this. They don't cake together. That's what this helps with. And then over here, I just have some other things. Light malt extract. I use this for agar. This right here, this is agar powder. But yeah, this is just part of the process of making those mushrooms. Tomorrow, we're going to take those petri dishes that I have. I'll show you those in a moment. And we will inoculate all of these grain jars with them. I have 3 petri dishes, and we'll just cut it into... No, I have 4 petri dishes, and we'll cut each one into thirds and just go. So that'll be really interesting. But I'll be right back. I'm going to show you some more of my supplies. And then after I show you my supplies, I'll go back and we'll go back to the lab and finish this up. So I'll be right back. So now real quick, before I head back to the lab, I just figured I'd show y'all real quick what I meant when I was talking about those soy hulls and the oak sawdust. These are what are called hardwood pellets. I get these from a company online, and they come just like this, but what it really is sawdust. And they're compacted together so tight in these pellets, but you see how they just break together? These ones right here are the same thing, except there's a little bit of corn in there, but these are soy. And you see how these are? They're the exact same idea, and they're just kind of pressed together like this. And I add water to them, and it causes them to break down. And when I mix it together, I make that master's mix. I bring it to 60% humidity, and that's how I make that. That's what's in my pressure canner right now, is what I just showed you, a mixture of this right here. So we're gonna head back to the lab right now. I'm gonna show you those Petri dishes, and we're gonna wrap this up. Here's my 4 Petri dishes that I'm gonna be inoculating tomorrow into the 12 grain jars that I showed you. I'm gonna turn each one into about 3 almost identical size pieces to have 3 jars per Petri dish. So these are some of my first generation. This right here is not contamination. These are fluids that it actually starts to excrete when it's digesting stuff, because it's reached a maximum capacity and it's trying really hard to reach fruiting conditions. So that's what the yellow is on that, and I'm going to be inoculating that tomorrow, as well as this. This chunk missing here is actually from these liquid cultures you see. They're not in this box for any reason. I just kind of trying to make space. These are my generation 2. Each one of these are clones of these. So they are clones of this one. These 2 are clones of this one. And I'm going to do the same thing with these, but you see how they're starting to grow? This one's got a little bit of those fluids I was talking about right here, but they're ready to go. I should have done better work with these along the way, trying to isolate strong genetics. So these are those Petri dishes I was talking about. They're going to go in those 12 jars tomorrow. So I'll be right back with you with the camera facing me, and we're going to finish this up, and I appreciate y'all. So that's really fucking cool, ain't it? It seems like a very complicated process, but it's really not. It's a learning curve. It's difficult, it's tedious, but it's not hard at all. Like, difficult and hard, I don't know. Difficult maybe wasn't the right word. I love it though. And you pick up on it really quick once you start going. So that's where we are. That's where it started, and how's it going, I guess. Like I said, is the whole purpose of this video. I do really encourage, if you're interested in getting into mycology and mushroom farming as a hobby, that you do a lot of research online. Check out the various resources available to you. Google is a wonderful thing when it comes to the prospecting mycologist, and it'll really help you out. There is also a wonderful book by Paul Stamets called Growing Gourmet and Medicinal Mushrooms. Buy it if you even remotely think you would like this hobby. Don't even hesitate. It's not even an optional book. You will look at it 400 times a day whenever you're working with your mushrooms. So definitely check that book out if you're interested in this hobby. Otherwise, just jump in. Don't even hesitate. Just jump in. There's plenty of resources available to you. There are grow kits you can buy online. Some that are simple as they're very self-working. You don't have to do a lot with them. You just kind of cut them open and they start to fruit. There's others that you can buy from more private sellers that tend to come with a grain spawn and a substrate separate, and you get to see a lot more of the process. But start there if you're trying to check this out, and then start looking into your own grain spawn, making your own grain spawn, your own substrates, and really getting involved in every process like you see me doing here. But start with the kit, and start with the book, and start with the online research, and then just see where it takes you. With that said, last time I was stupid, and it is not here that I want to point. It's here. So let's start to wrap this up. I would really appreciate it if y'all would go down below, click the link to my podcast and my blog. Go check out my latest episode of my podcast, which is still the episode with me and Julie and Rolling on Molly that I talked about in the last episode. It's a very good episode, though. It's very enlightening if you don't know much about MDMA and you're very curious what the drug is like. Both of us are on it, and it's a very eye-opening experience for somebody who doesn't understand the subject very much. So please go check that out. I will have it directly linked below the video. I will also have my website in general directly linked below the video. That will allow you to access my blog and any content I have very easily in one location. I will have my YouTube channel on there. I will have my podcast and my blog on there. All of my social media is on there. So please go check that out as well. Sign up for my newsletter while you're there. It supports me so much. Go to my social media, mostly my Instagram. Please follow my Instagram. You can get, I've fallen off a little bit on Instagram, but pretty soon as the mushroom stuff starts to free up, starts to get a little bit more streamlined, I'm going to get back on social media, and there will be a lot of really very unique content that's just for Instagram, especially with the mushroom growing. So please go follow me there. Look forward to that. Now we've gotten to that part I was talking about. Hit that subscribe button down there for me. Please, that's the most benefit. If you are here and you enjoyed this video, that's the best thing you can do for me and you, is hit that subscribe button. It supports me so much. You get updated whenever I have a new video, and it helps work that algorithm a little bit better so YouTube gets more people to see these wonderful videos that you enjoy and I love making. So please hit that subscribe button, then go down there, hit that like button, and then comment on the video. So let's run that back one more time. Podcast, blog, website, subscribe. I really appreciate you guys checking this video out, and I'll be back with some more real soon. I'm gonna have Panda on here. He's my partner in a lot of this, and we're really gonna have some great content for you going forward. Soon we're gonna have some blocks I can show you that are colonizing with these beautiful little jars right here. We got some great stuff. So I'll see y'all next time. Don't forget, subscribe. Take it easy.